Help the vets. Got Kurt Heelan live in 29 minutes. He's our 2-for-1 tonight. Nah, no fantasy tonight. Glad to have you with us on this Friday edition of the show. It's a Friday free for all. Anything you want to talk about on the phones tonight, I'm game. Well, I didn't see it. So if somebody wants to talk about what's going on in wrestling, knock themselves out. Wrestling? When is Survivor Series? Honestly, see, I'm so used to pay-per-views being on a Sunday, and now they're doing them on Saturdays. Yeah, it is kind of weird. The telephone number, 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. You can tweet at the show as well. I'm there at the back page. Hit me up on Twitter at the back page. I didn't check to see how our poll from last night was doing. We did a Twitter poll last night on Aaron Rodgers and what should the Packers do with him now. I would argue, I know they're not going to do it, because they're probably going to wait until they're mathematically eliminated, which means probably one more loss. I mean, technically you could say two more, but I mean, I think anybody with common sense would admit, oh, wow, Vince McMahon is trending on Twitter, would admit that this team is dead in the water, so to speak. So I would make the change now, but let me just see something here. I'm pulling them up. Hold on. I'm almost there. It's just taking me a little time. Sorry. I have to scroll through all the stupidness that is my Twitter feed. 52.9% say start Aaron Rodgers. 47.1% say start Jordan Love. So there you go. That's what we got going on. Every time I see like Vince McMahon trending at this point, I'm like, oh, did he die? Because yeah, absolutely. You know, so when I see, you know, when people get to a certain age and they're trending on Twitter, you're thinking they're dead. I mean, that's he did. By God, his limo blew up. It's the best I could do for JR. I interviewed JR years and years ago. He was a great interview. He's a good dude. Glad I could say I checked that one off my list. I interviewed Jim Ross. It was right before like the big football game with Oklahoma and OK State and all that stuff. So it was fun. So here we are at week 11 in the NFL. And you know, I think like many people, I'm at a point where every week when I think I've got this thing figured out, and I'm starting to get a sense for, you know, who the top teams in the league are and sort of differentiating between certain teams. And after last night, we spent so much time on last night's show when it was all said and done analyzing. And look, Tennessee, you know, for all the different teams that are now in the mix, if you're talking about, you know, top team in the AFC and all this. Remember, 3 weeks ago, all we really talked about was Buffalo and Kansas City. And now you're in a situation where Miami 7-3, the Jets have 3 losses, Buffalo's 3 losses, 6-3, 6-3. The Ravens are 6-3, Tennessee is 7-3, and Kansas City 7-2. All of a sudden, you start to look around. There's a lot of really good teams in the AFC, and all that parity and mediocrity when we had a bunch of teams that were 4-5 or 3-4 and 4-3 and 4-4 and 4-5, when it felt like everybody had the same record. Now we're at a point in the season where that's really not the case anymore. And the cream has definitely risen to the top. And just as in the NFC, we talk about basically one playoff spot for all these 500 teams and these 4-6 teams to combat to battle over. You've got the same sort of situation playing out in the AFC right now, where Miami, Baltimore, Tennessee, Kansas City lead their respective divisions. And then, it's the Jets and Bills who are going to own wild card spots. I still don't believe the Jets are even going to make the playoffs. I know I'm not a believer. Sorry. I put them in the category of what I thought about Minnesota for much of the year until what they did last week against Buffalo. But then you start looking and it's the Bengals, it's the Patriots, it's Los Angeles, that being the Chargers. And that's about it. You want to try and put the Colts in the conversation at 4-5-1, coming off the win last week. Okay, knock yourself out. But for the most part, when you start looking at the AFC playoff picture, it's crystallized pretty well. I'll tell you right now, if Bill Belichick makes the playoffs this year with the Patriots, they should put a statue of him in front of every stadium in the league, because that Patriots team has, been going through it with the Mac Jones injuries, the different quarterbacks. They've started a few different quarterbacks, really a lack of talent on offense. I mean, if you had told me that through this point in the season, Bill Belichick and the Patriots would have a better record than Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, again, would have had you peeing into a cup. But here we are. The Patriots are 5-4 and Brady's Buccaneers are 5-5. It's something else. It's something to be seen. But, the AFC, I think, much like the NFC, you've got, a bunch of teams fighting for one spot. In the NFC, it's a much bigger horse race to the finish line, with so many teams still in the mix for that final wild card spot that right now, would probably, I guess, be San Francisco, because they've played one less game than Washington, so they have a better winning percentage. But you could conceivably have all four teams in the NFC, and I don't think it's going to happen because they all got to play each other a lot, and you're going to get some, attrition there, I guess you could say, with some of these teams knocking each other off. But, the NFC East right now is every team essentially could wind up making the playoffs. Again, I don't think it'll happen, but it could. 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. We're going to do live betting on the show tonight, as we always do, because we love to talk about betting. And our live betting game of the night tonight is the Warriors and the Knicks. Oh, yeah, baby. Sign me up. Sign me up for the Warriors and the Knicks. In San Francisco, feels like the Knicks always lose there. And in all likelihood, they'll figure out a way to lose tonight because they've looked really good on this West Coast trip where they won in Utah and then won in Denver. So they'll probably lose tonight to a Warriors team that really can only win at home. And I'm not joking when I say that. The Warriors have not won a game on the road this year. Try and figure that out. Can I give you a pick already? Can I give my first live bet of the night? I know it's early. I think we're going to give our first live bet of the night already. You ready? The Knicks plus 10.5. Lock it in. Knicks plus 10.5 on the live line. They're down 12-4 early in the first quarter. Our first live bet of the night is the Knicks plus 10.5. Yeah, for the love of Pete, it's amazing. Again, these live betting algorithm things that you get early in a game, the Knicks are plus 360 on the money line, which still isn't enough value that I would necessarily go lay a bet there. But the Knicks plus 10.5, just because they're down 12-4 in the first 3 minutes of an NBA game? Are you kidding me? No. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. A couple of possessions, yeah. Well, they're not a bad team. Wait a second. Are you insinuating the Knicks are a bad team? Are you saying my Knicks are a bad team? Yeah, Knicks plus 10.5. Lock it in. It's our first live bet of the night. This is our game of the night for live betting. And every night on the show, we usually find at least one game that we do some live betting fun with. And if you're in a state where betting is legal, unlike me in California, because our constituents are a bunch of nincompoops who decided, we don't need sports betting in California. We don't need it. I'm telling you right now, if Texas gets sports betting before the state of California, I might move to Texas. I didn't say I was moving to Houston. I just said I'm moving to Texas. Well, we are on 97.1, The Freak, in our second and third hour. No offense to our friends in Houston. I have been there before. I haven't been to Dallas in a number of years. I haven't been to Dallas since I worked for Radio Shack back in 1999 or 2000. Yeah, Fort Worth, baby. Absolutely. Radio Shack is back, by the way, just so you know. Yes, go to the website. They actually have stores again and stuff like that. Yeah. Diodes and headphone adapters and all that stuff. They're trying to reinvent themselves. Yeah, Radio Shack is back. I'm telling you. Here's my question of the night. Here's my question of the night on the show. And you're a little younger than me, Brian, not much. Here's my question of the night. If you could bring back one big store from your childhood, and I'm not talking about the local mom and pop deli on your corner because nobody cares about that. I'm talking about a national chain. If you could bring back one big national chain, what would it be? From anywhere in America tonight, I will take that call. 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. Our one question tonight that has nothing to do with sports. If you could bring something back that was from your childhood, a chain store, national brand, if you could bring it back, it doesn't even have to be from your childhood. It could be, recently close, whatever. What would it be? 1-800-224-2004. 800-224-2004. Radio Shack will always be my answer. Always. Love Radio Shack. Let me tell you something. I loved working at Radio Shack. I was a manager. I managed one. I told you I was a manager at one. Yeah. You're too busy watching wrestling reruns over there, you booger eater. We're coming back. No, I'm not. I just fake it. We're coming back. We'll keep an eye on the Knicks and the Warriors. We already got our first live bet in for the night. The Knicks plus 10.5. They trail 13-4 in the first quarter. Stay with us. The cash in. We're just getting started on SportsMap Radio. I guarantee people will call in on this. Of course. Yeah. No. I have my text messages up, even though notifications are off. So go ahead. Just write it in on the thing. All right. What does say Tom Minnesota media play? Uh-huh. All right. All right. All right. Do you believe? Doesn't bode well for our live bet on the Knicks when they're just throwing the ball into the stands. Come on! Knicks plus 10.5 on the live betting line is our first live bet of the night. It may not be our last. Oh, just hang on tight. 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. You could tweet at the show at the back page. Another edition of Page's Picks coming up later in the show. I am 19-22 on the year. I'm not proud of that, but I am obligated to give my numbers, which have just not been great this year. It's plain and simple. I have not been good. Kurt Heelan will talk NBA with us coming up in 12 minutes. He is a mainstay on this show. We'll get into some NBA chatter with him. Kyrie Irving getting set to come back this weekend for the Brooklyn Nets. Our question of the night, with nothing having to do with sports at all, just because I feel like it, and it's my show and I can do that. My question of the night to anybody in America at 1-800-224-2004. We got to talking about Radio Shack somehow, and I said, of all the stores I wish that could come back from my childhood, that would be the one. That will always be the answer. And I know they're kind of in the midst of making a comeback right now. So I opened it up to the audience. I said, give me the store, the national chain that you wish could come back. If you could bring it back, what would it be? 1-800-224-2004 on Twitter at the back page as well. You can weigh in there while Twitter is still around, because apparently most people tell me it's going to be gone soon. It's still there, like an old friend waiting to comfort you with disinformation and lots of angry people. Let me go. Let's start line 2. We'll go Tom in Minnesota. You're on with Jason Page on the Cash In on SportsMap Radio. What's going on in Minnie? How cold is it where you are? Where in Minnesota are you? Oh, God. See, I live in Palm Springs, California, so I will never have to know what it's like to deal with that kind of crap. Yeah, no. Yeah. That's true. You can live when it's cold. If a state falls into the ocean, you've got no luck there. All right, give me your store. Give me a store. Media Store was a chain founded in 92 that sold VHS, DVDs, music, electronics, toys, all that stuff. They were open till 2000 and then they went under. You probably still had gift cards when they closed, didn't they? All right. That's true. Closed, I think they said 2006 they closed. Good call. Appreciate it, Tom. Stay warm up there in Minnesota. Tim in South Carolina. Hello, Gamecocks. Give me a store. Oh. Yeah, Tower Records. Tower Records is another one of those stores that sort of made an online comeback. The brick and mortar is gone, but there's actually still like a towerrecords.com where you can go and find stuff online. But nothing beats the brick and mortar experience that we had. Yeah, I agree. That's a good one. Tower Records is a good one. Good call. Appreciate it, Tim, in South Carolina. Yeah, absolutely. 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. The truth is, I'm not going to spoil it because I want to let other people who are listening give their favorite store. I've got so many that I can go with. Radio Shack's just the one. I have a connection to it because I grew up around it. There was always one down the street from the house. They were everywhere. There was a time where they were like Starbucks. They were everywhere. Yeah. Yeah, nah, I loved Radio Shack. I worked a bunch of retail jobs when I was a kid and first getting into broadcasting. I'm 20, 21 years old, and I'm working a broadcasting job part-time, and then I'm also, I was doing public address for a minor league baseball team, and then at night, then during the day, I'm working at Radio Shack, that sort of thing. But I loved Radio Shack. I absolutely, because I'm a techie. I was always a computer geek and all that stuff, so it just resonated with me for some reason. Like I said, they are making a comeback, though, and they're trying to sort of position themselves in terms of what they're going to be selling. Yeah, you could still get those diodes and, LED replacement bulbs you need and stuff like that. But that was the place you went for that stuff. Yeah. Oh my God. How did I know you were going to say that? Because that's exactly what I was thinking of. Was the RC cars? Yes. Yeah. I remember the RC car. I used to have to set up that display. I remember it well. 1-800-224-2004. So how are we doing on our Knicks bet here? Let's see. In our live betting, the Knicks. Oh boy, this isn't good. Is this going to be one of those games where it's like over in the second quarter? Knicks trail the Warriors 27-13. Oof. And the live betting's already jumped up to 13.5. The live money line has jumped up to plus 520 already. 13.5, baby. No, not yet. Not yet. I'm not that much of a degenerate. We like to give it some time. I just checked. Minnesota does not have sports betting. I thought they would. I'm kind of surprised Minnesota hasn't adopted any sports betting yet. They only have horse. You can only bet on the horsies. I don't know. I don't think South Carolina has it yet either. But I will say this. Texas, and only because they're putting money in Rick Perry's pockets. Rick Perry is now with like the major lobbying group to try and get sports betting through the legislature. Well, when Rick Perry jumps on board, you know. Exactly. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get sports betting in Texas. I'm open to moving. I haven't talked about this on the air, but my partner and I have actually been discussing the idea of leaving Palm Springs and going somewhere else. So let's just say I'm like a free agent now. So I'm going to have cities from all across America trying to woo me to their states. We're back with Kurt Heelan. It's Pro Basketball Talk next on the show. Yeah, live. We'll do it live. It's the greatest video ever. Yeah. Sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. We welcome you back to the show. Our completely having nothing to do with sports question of the night. If you had one chain store, national chain store that you could bring back, what would it be? We've heard Tower Records. We've heard Media Play. My vote is always going to be for Radio Shack. If you've got one, let us know. 1-800-224-2004. 800-224-2004. You might be on hold for a little bit because we got an interview coming up. But also, you can hit me up on Twitter if that's more convenient while Twitter is still around. On Twitter at The Back Page. Kurt Heelan is our guest, Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com. He is the man behind it, and he joins us on the show tonight. Do you have? I'm gonna put you on the spot. One store from your childhood. If you could bring back one store from your childhood, what would it be?
That's a really good question. I was just thinking about that. By the way, you've got to work on your Mastodon title and then what that's going to be and how you're going to get that out in a couple days. It's funny. I was trying to think of like what chain store did I go to a lot, and like I have these weird fond memories of going to Sizzler with my dad, but I think there's still Sizzler.
Sizzler is still alive.
Yeah, so that doesn't count. Maybe Radio Shack. I'm trying to. I feel like I'm forgetting something really obvious, and I can't think of it right now.
All right. Well, I guess you're not Johnny on the spot this time. That's okay.
No, I am not. I'm the little hamster's not running very fast tonight, so you're stuck with it.
Fair enough. I don't normally talk about games in progress because we replay this interview in the final hour of the show. But I made the Knicks my live bet of the night. Plus 10.5 when they were down 12-4 early in the first quarter, and now they're down 32-17. Did I make an epic mistake tonight?
Well, you bet on the Knicks, so usually that is yes. I don't know. They are really they're just kind of unpredictable. They're just what's weird is they're actually the offense, especially with Brunson around, is solid, and they've got too many guards. They're looking to trade. What's weird is this is the worst defending Thibodeau team I can remember. They are just awful.
Yeah,
they're just awful on that end of the floor. And those, by the way, for your betting friends, like those are the hardest teams to predict, right? Other than because if you're bad defensively, every once in a while you outscore a team, or you just have a decent night, or the other team just misses shots, and you do okay. But like it's just unpredictable with bad defensive teams. So.
Let me ask you something. At what point do you start to worry about this Warriors team? I mean, what sampling size is enough? We're basically a little about fifth of the way through the season after tonight's game. I mean, at what point is it a real concern for this team, Bob Myers, Steve Kerr, to look at a team that can't win on the road, has had trouble defending, and is basically relying on Stephen Curry to put him on his back every night at a stage in his career where he cannot do that every night and be fresh by the end of the season?
Well, I think you just hit the big concern, which is Steph Curry's been fantastic, but you can't play him this many minutes and kind of just rely on him to be this much of the offense. Look, it's going to wear Luka down, and Luka's 24. Like, you're asking a lot of Curry to do this, as great a condition as he is in. You can tell they're starting to. Personally, they get a little more slack than most teams because they've got 4 rings, because they've been there and done that. And the other thing that they've got going for them, their starting 5 lineup is still killing people. Like the starting 5 is fine. Poole's been inconsistent as a 6th man, so all the people who would listen to me and bet Poole for 6th man of the year, I'm sorry. I mean, maybe he'll come around, but. He's been really inconsistent so far. And then the rest of the bench has been awful. Just, Wiseman's in the G League now. DiVincenzo's trying to get healthy and is okay, but he's not great. And Moody's up and down. Kuminga's up and down. They've just been terrible. I think you can tell they're starting to worry internally a little more by the way and the tone that. Look, Steve Kerr the other night came out and said we look like a Drew League
team,
which is a really cold insult in the NBA. That's hey, I only care about my own individual shot and I don't care about defense type of mentality. I think they'll get better. I think Clay will be better. He's not going to shoot this poorly all season. I think Poole will level out. But you mentioned it. Their defense hasn't been good. That's the real concern. They were still the best defense in the NBA last year going into the playoffs. And it was just a matter of, hey, can the offense and everything kind of break right for them? Can Clay be good enough? And they obviously were, but Clay has been worse than his playoff self this year, and their defense is awful. And it's time to start genuinely worrying. It's early, but I think that if you're Bob Meyer and that group, you have to start thinking about, hey, if we're going to go, I think you owe it to Curry to be all in for this year. Like you've got the rest of this window, and if that means moving Wiseman or Moody or somebody to get a veteran who can genuinely help you this year, I think you have to seriously consider it.
Yeah. I agree with you. Talking with Kurt Heelan, Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com. Is Clay going to have to reinvent himself a bit? You know, sometimes I see it in baseball all the time with pitchers who have been, dominant, maybe power arms early in their career. They suffer an injury or a setback, and they come back and sort of reinvent themselves. Is that what we're talking about with Klay Thompson? Because it just feels like, to me, I know you say, well, eventually he won't shoot this bad. Well, but what if he does? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out how, with his skill set and his physical abilities, and now there has to be some limitations because of all the, the bevy of injuries he suffered. How does he reinvent himself? Does he have to?
I think a little bit, and I think that's hard sometimes for players to accept. And look, you don't get to be Klay Thompson without being incredibly competitive, right? And you don't accept. You've just spent the first 30 years of your life getting to this point by not accepting limitations, by not saying, I don't need to work out again. I can't push. You push yourself through everything. So there's a part of you that thinks you can do that. And then at some point, the brain that I know I think he understands he's never quite going to be the same player. He's pretty much said that, but he's got to start, like you said, I think he's got to modify his game a little. But the other part of that is, the bottom line is, he's also just missing shots. He's just missing looks he made. He's going to have to maybe he's not going to be able to create the space and nail the contested shots and have those 30-plus point quarters anymore. Like, I'm not sure that Clay's around, but he's also going to hit, he's just missing wide open stuff. Like, he's missing clean looks. And I don't think that continues forever. Talking
with Kurt Heelan, Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com, getting into some NBA conversation with him. Let me ask you something. Go to the Eastern Conference for a second. If with every win that the Celtics rack up, does Ime Udoka's value decrease? When you see Joe Mazzulla doing what he's doing with this team, and they're not even 100% healthy yet, and I get it, not everybody's healthy, but you look at what Mazzulla has done here in the early going, sort of picking up the pieces after Udoka got let go, right around the start of the preseason. Is it a situation where guys around the league look and say, all right, well, maybe Udoka's a good coach, but Joe Mazzulla was able to step into that same team, and they haven't missed a beat at all.
I would like to remind you that Luke Walton coached the first half of the 73 win Warriors season, did he not?
Yes, he did.
And Luke Walton may not be the best NBA coach that's ever lived. So I think it's sort of similar in this case. There's obviously they've had to adjust, especially with Robert Williams out there. Defense just isn't the same, and won't be till he gets back. But the foundation and what they wanted to do, and I think if people understand that Ime Udoka helped them find their identity last year. It took half a season. It took a while to get there. Remember, they were 18-21 at one point. They got there, and when they figured it out, they've kind of stuck with it. So I don't mean to imply that Joe Mazzulla is simply some sort of caretaker, because I think he's done a really good job and helped with the adjustments. But I think the foundation was there by the time he walked in, and he just had to. There was a part of, we know what we want to do. Let's not screw that up.
So it's basically just go in and continue the same, sort of.
Yeah. The culture was already set that they wanted to do, and he takes over a team that came so close, right? Like they've got that fire from having reached the finals. Thinking, by the way, I will tell you, when you were around them last year, they were convinced they were the better team. And they might have been the more talented team. They were, obviously, when we look back at that finals, the Warriors were able to force them into stuff they didn't want to do and kind of just outthink them and out-scheme them a little bit. But I think that they came back with real fire after that. And so he again, stepped into a situation where the team was motivated, the foundation was laid, and he just had to help bring it over the goal.
A yes or no question, and then I'll have a follow-up. There's a reason I'm asking it. Do you think the league likes the style of play right now where teams are, jacking up 35 to 43s a night? Do you think the league likes that?
Yes, it's more nuanced than that, but yes.
Because the reason I ask it is, to me, it's become more of a 3-point shootout every game, run up and down the floor, shoot threes, and then, in the final 6 minutes, the game bogs down a bit more and it becomes a little bit more defensive minded. But I almost wonder if the NBA has sort of in some ways become like baseball, where for baseball, it's all or nothing. Who cares if you hit 225? If you hit 30 home runs and knock in 80, that's fine. Anthony Rizzo just got a contract from the Yankees. He hit 225, had 34 home runs, 75 RBIs. He's going to make $20 million a year. And to me, that's been one of the things that's kind of hurt baseball is all the different nuances that we were used to seeing around baseball. They've sort of gone. A lot of the traditions that we loved, being, guys stealing bases, things like that. And it feels like to me, so much of basketball has sort of gone out the door. The fundamentals of basketball have left, and a lot of it's because of the three-point shot and the fact that everybody on the floor can shoot it now. And to me, I would almost like to see the NBA just keep backing up the three-point line to disincentivize guys from jacking up 40 of them a game.
Yeah, the problem is you can only do that so much because of the size of it. You could widen the court and just get rid of those front row seats. I'm sure every team will go for that. I believe genuinely that there will be a pendulum swing in the next 10 to 15 years, and it won't be dramatic. We're not going to go back to 1990s basketball, but there will be another Tom Thibodeau in Boston type of situation where somebody figures out a defense that messes with the existing theories, and the defenses will it will be copied by everybody, and the offenses will have to adjust. And I think that's coming. They'll always, I think right now the offenses are just ahead of the defenses, but I think that pendulum swing will happen. I think the league wants scoring up, it wants pace up, but I think it prefers Ja Morant. I don't want to say Steph Curry's a bad example and the Warriors are a bad example, but because they're a very entertaining team to watch. But I think that they would prefer more Ja Morant drive and kick stuff and the athleticism of that on a space. And you need spacing on the floor to make that happen. But I think that they'd like to see that, and they'd like to see faster paced games more than they necessarily just want to see more threes.
That makes a lot of sense. Kurt Halen, thank you for the philosophical conversation. I appreciate it, my friend. Kurt Halen, Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com. Thank you. Have a great weekend, sir.
You too. Take care, man.
We will come back and wrap up this hour of the Cash In on SportsMap Radio next. Thanks, Kurt. That was driving me crazy. Yeah, it's like I'm watching a game in black and white. It's like I'm watching Pleasantville. There we go. All right, we're down 16. A lot of time left. Oh, I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. God. That little piece was causing all that havoc in my mouth. Ugh. Hey, where's the wings, by the way?
They're frozen.
What?
They're frozen, so they can't. It's not like they're pre-made.
So I got nothing. I'm starving.
You want dumpling?
Hey, it's Friday, and that means we're 2 days away from the rest of Week 11 in the NFL. No better time than now to head over to playfortickets.com. Listen to me. Free to play, free to sign up, free to pick the games, and if you pick the correct side and totals on Sunday for 7 games, side and total for 7 games, $50,000 cash in your pocket, airfare and hotel. You're going to the big game in Arizona in February. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. It's the Super Pick 7 contest. It's active right now at playfortickets.com. Every Sunday of the NFL season, including the playoffs, gives you a chance to win. And again, couldn't be easier. Just pick the correct side and totals on Sunday for 7 games. Use that football noggin of yours to pick the games. Again, correct side and totals, 2 tickets to the 2023 big game in Glendale, Arizona. $50,000 cash in your pocket. Let's go do it right now. Playfortickets.com. Playfortickets.com. Completely free to play. 21 and over. Terms and conditions apply. 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. Hit me up on Twitter at The Back Page. Again, on Twitter at The Back Page. Golden State leads the Knicks 42-26. That is our live betting game of the night. We have the Knicks plus 10.5. We being the imperial we. Because it's really just me. Unless Brian, our producer engineer, is in on it too. I don't know. Maybe he is. Another hour of the cash-in is right around the corner. We'll talk about something. It's Friday. Hope you're all enjoying hanging out with us, no matter what you're doing. SportsMap Radio and the SportsMap Radio app. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Belmer made a new promo. Oh, no, never mind. I heard this one. Do, 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 do. What a night for Luka. Wow. Hooray, I'll alert the authorities. Another hour of the show starts right now on SportsMap Radio and all over the world on the SportsMap Radio app. Good to be with you. I'm Jason. Friday. We're feeling a little goofy. It's been a weird week. We had the fire on Sunday at the SportsMap headquarters in Houston. Caused our show not to be on Monday. Then we had to miss an hour of the show on Thursday because they were doing some maintenance and stuff. So it's just been a weird week. Been a strange week to try and sort of navigate through. Well, I didn't miss an hour. We had to do a replay for the final hour because they basically took everything. They like shut down the power basically to the building. So the final hour. Yeah, so the final hour of the show yesterday, we just replayed our conversation with Craig Kilborn. And instead of waxing poetic about how crappy the Packers are and the fact that Aaron Rodgers should basically be benched for Jordan Love for the rest of the season. You heard me in Green Bay. You heard me. It's time to put him on the bench. Find out what you have in Jordan Love. Because in your heart of hearts, you know this team is going nowhere. I mean, for crying out loud. I mean, at some point, you have to start to, as a fan base, I mean, and I think acceptance has already started to occur. They were booing the Packers leaving the field at halftime yesterday. And I started asking around, when was the last time a Packers team was being booed off the field? And it was before Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre were the quarterback of the team. Would that be like the Don Majkowski? Remember Magic Man, Don Majkowski? Would that be that day? Probably be the early 90s. So I'm guessing it would be when Don Majkowski was when Don Majkowski was the quarterback of the team. Oh, easily. But way more than that. Let's see. Who was the quarterback before Favre? Yeah, it was Don Majkowski. Oh, Mike Tomczak was the quarterback for about 5 minutes, too. This Knicks bet is not looking good, by the way. They're down 20. We're back with more of the Cash In on SportsMap Radio. That was Don Majkowski for 3 years, Mike Tomczak for 1. They were 4-12 that year when Mike Tomczak was the quarterback. Then Favre came in. Then Favre came in 92. They went 9-7, and the rest of it literally is history. They had one sub-500 season with Brett Favre at quarterback. I don't know if it was 2005 or not. Because he jinxed it. That's it. It's the dog's fault. Had a great conversation. Insane. Got no brain. Uh-oh. Knicks were down 60-39 a couple minutes ago. Back-to-back 3 balls. We're back in the game, baby. It's rally time. Get out the rally monkey. Warriors lead the Knicks 60-45 late in the second quarter. Come on, get a stop here. We got the Knicks plus 10.5 on the it's an NBA game. Look, the Knicks are plus 870 on the money line right now. And if I were sitting in a sports book right now, I would take them. I would absolutely take them at plus 870. How do you not? There's so much value in that. And it's an NBA game, and there's going to be runs. You take the Knicks when they're down 60-45 at plus 750 on the money line. I'm just saying. You just do. We do live betting every night on the show. Our live betting game of the night is the Knicks and the Warriors. We took the Knicks. They were down 12-4 in the first quarter. We took them plus 10.5 on the live betting spread. And right now they trail 60-45. They were down as many as 21, and they're trying to rally here late in the second quarter. So we'll see what happens. That's our live betting game of the night. By the way, not to go too crazy about early season NBA when I've got plenty of NFL to talk about tonight on the show, but Luka Doncic, oh my God. It's our friends listening on 97.1, The Freak in Dallas. They're probably still in their network post-game show, so we may not even be on the air yet there. But Luka tonight, how about this line? 33, 12 rebounds, 11 assists, a triple-double. He's just, I'm telling you, he's so much fun to watch. He's just, I'm telling you, Dallas would not be a terrible place to live right now. You know, I'm thinking about like where we might move to. Oh, Knicks only down 13 now. Dallas wouldn't be the worst place. Houston, I don't know so much, but Dallas, Wow. Taking shots. Shots fired literally and figuratively. Yeah, you did. Knicks trail 60-47. And let's see here. Hold on. That's it. Yeah. We're gonna. Oh, bad foul. Bad loose ball foul called on the Knicks. Down 13. They're about to close out with a good defensive stop at the end of the first half, and they got a bogus call. Fix is in. Just saying. I didn't get to talk about it with Kurt Heelan, but Kyrie Irving's going to come back on Sunday. And look, I think he should be allowed to play. I'm not saying the guy should be banned for life or anything like that, but I don't want to hear any of these self-entitled, zillionaire NBA players that don't give two craps about what's going on in China when you've got, the Uyghurs there being exterminated by China, and they play for a league that's basically taking all that Chinese money. I don't want to hear from, Jaylen Brown, who's, one day he's going to be a president. I actually heard an NBA announcer the other night say, he's got such big things in his future once his NBA days are done. And he's working on behalf of the Players Association, which that's fine. The union thing, I don't have any problem with that, obviously. But for the love of God, I don't need to hear Jaylen Brown telling me how, Kyrie Irving's getting a raw deal. Oh, nobody's ever been made to, apologize and complete the 6-step process, and it's not fair. And then the whataboutism of, Joe Tsai, who owns the Brooklyn Nets, what about Joe Tsai? And he needs to take a look in the mirror. Joe Tsai owns the team. Joe Tsai's the owner of the team. And he could set the terms by which Kyrie Irving gets to come back. You want to file a grievance on behalf of the Players Association? Go file your grievance. You go and defend a guy that puts out a book on his social media feed, a movie on his social media feed that's laced with nothing but anti-Semitism and hate towards Jews. You go ahead and take that one up, Jaylen Brown. Good luck. And then go run for office when you're done. Let me know how that works out. God, I'm so tired of the Kyrie stuff. And this is why Kyrie is Kyrie. Because all he's surrounded with are a bunch of sycophantic apologists who want to apologize for his bad behavior. That's it. I'm not saying the guy shouldn't be allowed to play again. Bring him back. Fine. If the Nets decide it's in their best interests of their organization to put him back on the floor, knock yourselves out. Go ahead. But don't tell me he's being persecuted. He's getting a raw deal. Let me tell you something. As far as I'm concerned, he got off easy. That dude got off easy. Oh, well, he's apologized. Really? You think that was an apology? By the way, Golden State 61, the Knicks 50 at the half. Wow. How about that turnaround? Knicks were down 60-39 with like 2.5 minutes left. In the second quarter, they close out big to end the first half, and we're right there for our live bet, baby. That's why you take the Knicks when they're down big on the money line. 11-point game at the half in the NBA, that's nothing. That's small potatoes. You can erase that real quick. But how about the Mavericks, man? Luka. That team's 8-6, and it's literally all Luka. I like Christian Wood. I liked him in Houston. I thought that was a great pickup for them, and he's doing some great things off the bench. He's sort of a very flexible player, can do a lot of different things for you. 11 of 6, by the way. Christian Wood tonight, 28 points, 8 rebounds off the bench in 26 minutes. What, Brian? I hear you breathing. I can hear you breathing into the mic like Darth Vader. Well, I think it's way too early still. I think it's way too early. Yeah, that's early though. That's early. He's playing. No, but he's not LeBron. He's playing in the era. He's playing in a different era than LeBron was playing in when he came into the league. You look at the first 4 years of LeBron. Who was the best team in the league in the early 2000s? Was it San Antonio? It was probably San Antonio, right? It was a different time. Now, there's, you look at what the Warriors continue to do up until this year, obviously, where they've struggled. I still think you're a ways away. I will say this. As long as they're winning the way they're winning right now, they're not winning anything with Luka Doncic. You cannot consistently ask him. And Kurt Heelan briefly alluded to it in the last hour when we had him on from Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com. You cannot ask this of your star players. Even Luka at 24, you cannot ask him to carry this kind of load night in and night out over the course of an 82-game regular season. And right now the Warriors are doing that with Stephen Curry. And, it's only a matter of time before that catches up to him. So, you're sort of in the same situation. By the way, wild game tonight in Utah in Salt Lake City where the Jazz lead Phoenix 132. I swear to God, I feel like I'm watching the NBA of like the early to mid-90s. Utah leads Phoenix 132-130 with a minute to go in the fourth quarter there. It's kind of cool. And the Lakers are losing out at Crypto to Detroit 40. Lakers are losing at home to Detroit. 41-35 the score. Boy, you want to talk about Well, now it's 48-35 Detroit. 8:51 to go second quarter. Boy, you want to talk about, I mean, were they giving away tickets for that game tonight? Detroit's 3-13. The Lakers are 3-10. Ugh. That's just, I mean, you could not, I swear to you, I am as big an NBA fan, as big a LeBron fan as you'll ever see. I know he's not playing tonight. You could not pay me to go watch that game live. Well, I think, look, I have said this all along. I think the team, I think LeBron, if it continues this way, and I said this to Kurt Heelan a number of weeks ago, before anybody else was saying it, you heard it here first. I think LeBron's going to ask out. I think he's going to ask for a trade. I mean, he's got to play for 2 more years before his kid gets into the league. He's got to play this year and he's got to play next year, and then little Bronny will be. Well, he's not so little, but he'll be ready for the NBA in 2024. So LeBron's just trying to get to that next benchmark in his career, so he can play with his son and then play a year or two and then retire, and that's fine. But the reality is he's not going to want to spend it on this craptastic Lakers team. Winning 35 games. It's just not going to happen. No, he also wants to play to pass Kareem too. Now that's the other big thing he's playing for is to pass Kareem on the all-time NBA scoring list. Let me see where he is. Scoring list. He is he's number 2. And he is he's going to break it so much faster than Kareem got it too. He is 1,000 points behind, so he should get. I mean, I would think he would get there this year. No, I mean that might be this season. 1,000 points. Yeah, so I mean he's going to get to that number. And I wonder if anybody will break it. By the way, after him, I really do, because guys don't play that long anymore. I mean, LeBron's at 37,311. He's literally about 1,000. He's about 1,000 points behind Kareem, a little more than 1,000 points behind Kareem. And I wonder after that, I don't see anybody. Yeah, that too. Yeah, nobody's going to play that long. Nobody's going to play in the league that long. 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. We'll keep an eye on our live betting game of the night. It's at the half. The Knicks trailing the Warriors 61-50. We have the Knicks plus 10.5. We got it very early in the game. If you're looking at it now, the Knicks are plus 600 on the money line. Golden State is, doesn't matter. You're not taking Golden State on the money line when they're up by 11. We're back with more of the Cash In on SportsMap Radio. Not really. Yeah. That's crazy. Oh, my God. Stop it. Jesus Christ. Oh, my God. So last segment of this hour, the last long segment, that's where we'll do Paige's picks. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. One 800-224-2004 is the phone number. It's an open phones Friday. 800-224-2004. Anything you want to talk about, weigh in on, go ahead. Tweet at the show at the back page. Our absolutely meaningless question of the night that has nothing to do with sports. Talked about it in the first hour. The one store from your childhood or past, the one national chain that you wish could come back tomorrow. If you could bring back one, what would it be? We've heard Tower Records. We've heard Media Play. Kurt Heelan said Sizzler, but I had to inform him that Sizzler is still around. Did they have Ground Round where you were? I used to love Ground Round when I was a kid. That was a restaurant. Yeah, I don't know if Ground Round was a national chain or not. Ground Round was great. Used to love it. Yeah, it had that kind of vibe. Ground Round. Wow, they're still it says Ground Round is still alive. Is still around. I have to look. I have to see if is Ground Round still alive? They filed for Chapter 11 in 2004. I don't know if there's any more, but I used to love Ground Round. So if you've got a store that you were attached to in your younger years, that if you could bring back just one store, let me know what it is. 1-800-224-2004. My bet is for my pick is Radio Shack. Always. It'll always be Radio Shack. I got a whole bunch more, but I want to let the listeners dictate this conversation. So if you've got one, throw it at us tonight. Get a little nostalgic. Think back to your youth. Where did you used to go after you got out of school on a weekday or something? I remember my friends and I used to go to a department store called Ames. I don't know if they had Ames where you were. Ames was like any of these other big box. Yeah. Yes. And we used to go to Ames as a kid. And true story, they used to have this was back in, I'm talking like late 80s, early 90s when there were just baseball cards everywhere. And we would go in. Oh, God, I shouldn't admit this. I'm not going to be able to run for president after I admit this. We used to find the loosies. Like, people would open up packs, and we used to find the loosies, like loose cigarettes. We used to look for loose baseball cards. And me and my three, really good friends from my childhood, we once went into Ames, and we took a couple of cards, and we're walking out the door, and security comes and grabs us. And they take us upstairs. You know how they always have the windows that look like you can't see anything on the other side? Yes, they brought us into the security room. And I gave them away right away. I didn't do it. He took all the cards. Don't call my parents, because I knew my dad would kick the crap out of me. No, I gave it up right away. If I was in the mob, forget it. Every secret would be out there. Nope, not made out for a life of crime. but Ames was the department store. There were a lot of those up in the Northeast. But if you guys got one, 1-800-224-2004. We were talking about Radio Shack because I worked there when I was in my like early 20s, and I managed one. I used to manage one in Trumbull, Connecticut, White Plains Road. Ah, gosh. Remember it like it was yesterday. Store 2175. I could actually still remember the store number. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. I worked for Champ Sports at one time. I was an assistant manager. I worked for Gap. I managed a sunglass hut. Oh, I did all the retail rounds when I was younger. Yes. Oh, yes. You know, there is still one Blockbuster Video open in the country. Bend, Oregon. I have not, but yes, yep. Bend, Oregon. There was a time where Blockbuster Video had 84,000 employees. Can you imagine? 2004, Blockbuster had 84,000 employees. It's amazing how these things are all cyclical. And that they're there and then they're gone, but it's hard to imagine there was a time where there were all these Blockbuster Videos, and now again, you talk about it in that nostalgic sort of way. No, it didn't age very well. 800-224-2004. If you've got a store that you would want to bring back, if you've got a soft spot for a chain that you'd want to bring back, let us know. 800-224-2004. We'll have Paige's picks coming up in about 5 minutes. My NFL picks for week number 11 in the NFL. I am 19-22 on the year. So I hate to say it, I've stunk. I mean, there's no getting around it. I just have not been good this year when it comes to my NBA picks, my NFL picks. I've been good on my live betting on the NBA. I have not been so good when it comes to my NFL picks. Yeah, but no. Well, we only did one night. I mean, so. Fair enough. 800-224-2004. Get on Twitter at the back page if you're looking for me. Matter of fact, I got somebody else on Twitter hit me up on this. Oh, John, our buddy John Belmer, who works on the show. He said Blockbuster Video as well. So Blockbuster's getting a lot of love tonight. All right. So coming up in a couple minutes, Paige's picks. We'll update you on what's going on in this live betting game of the night that we got going on right now between the Knicks and the Warriors. We have the Knicks plus 10.5. They trail the Warriors 64-52, 8:49 to go third quarter. We'll keep you posted on that. Lakers at home trailing the Pistons 59-57. No LeBron tonight for the Lakers, though. Trying to avoid dropping to 3-11. Yikes. More of the back page. More of the back page. More of the cash in next. More of the back page. I used to host a sports talk show called The Back Page. Yes. Oh, my God. That's funny. Oh my god. I must be drunk. God help me. Somebody call in and hang up. I would have done them at the start of the segment. Paige's Picks doesn't take that long. Slap nuts. Come on. Make me go all Jeff Jarrett on you. That's what he does best. Him and the honky tonk man. At least honky tonk man actually sung his song. Yes, he is. He's cool, he's cocky, he's bad. Yeah, it's true. It's very true. I don't know. Was there anybody better than that? Now you got me wondering about that. We were just talking during the break. Brian McDonald, our producer, engineer extraordinaire, working on the show tonight from Houston while I'm here in California. He said Honky Tonk Man was the best Intercontinental Champion of all time. Yeah, I'm just trying to think if Honky Tonk Man is the best IC champ. Tito Santana had it for a while, didn't he? Macho Man had it. Oh, yeah. I just wonder if we did a poll on the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, I wonder who would win. I may have to do that. That's true. That's very true. And if I put up a 24-hour poll on Twitter, it may not make it the whole 24 hours since somebody's going to pull the plug on Twitter any minute. So that's it. It's time to go. 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. Our question of the night that has nothing to do with sports at all, because it's Friday and we're having fun, is the one chain store you could bring back. If you had one chain store that you could bring back from your past, what would it be? My vote was for Radio Shack. We've heard Tower Records. We've heard Blockbuster. We've heard Media Play. If you've got an answer on that tonight, you can weigh in on the show. 800-224-2004 on this kind of free-for-all Friday that we're all sort of dealing with. Well, Paige's Picks coming up in just a couple of minutes. Knicks and Warriors is our live betting game of the night. We've gone a little backwards here, midway through the third quarter. And this is what the Warriors, by the way, in their heyday and in their best days, which, I mean, even last year you could say, they crush teams' souls in the third quarter. They just take your heart out. And they've started to do that a little bit in this Knicks game. They've pulled what was an 11-point halftime lead is now up to 16. It's Golden State 72, the Knicks 56 with 6:16 to go in the third quarter. Out at Oracle. Out at Chase Arena. Oracle's where they used to play. Before we went to break, I have to explain this. So before we went to break, I said more of the back page. And people might be saying, what is he talking about? He doesn't even know the name of his own show. I used to host a show called The Back Page. It was The Back Page with Jason Page. And I don't know why that suddenly popped into my head when I haven't hosted that show in 11 years. But it popped into my head. I just don't know. Let me see. Mike in Dallas. Oh, we must be on 97.1 The Freak in Dallas now. Mike in Dallas, you're on with Jason Page. Go ahead. Yeah, see, that went the way of Circuit City. You know, all those electronic stores. And Nobody Beats the Whiz was another one back in the Northeast during the day. But Fry's was big out here in the West Coast in California. Matter of fact, there was a PGA Tour event for years out here called the Fry's.com Open, which obviously is no longer. But Fry's is a good one. That's a good electronics store. Good job. Appreciate that. A what? That is awesome, Mike. Appreciate the call in Dallas, Mike. Love our listeners. Absolutely love our listeners on 97.1. The Freak. I love being on a station called The Freak. It's just awesome. Wayne in Las Vegas, Sin City. What's going on, Wayne? Remember the catalog? We used to all get the Sharper Image catalog back in the day. You know what I remember always being at the Sharper Image was that thing where you put your hand on the ball and the lightning kind of goes and hits you in the hand. Remember those things? I loved the Sharper Image. That's a great call. Appreciate it, Wayne in Las Vegas. Thanks, man. Yeah, absolutely. Have a great weekend. That's awesome. Sharper Image. You know another one that goes along with Sharper Image? See, and I don't know if you'd remember this one, Brian. Service merchandise. Yeah, service merchandise was in that same vein as Sharper Image. I think Brookstone might still be open. I don't know if Brookstone is still. I think they're still open in airports. I think they closed Yeah, I once bought about 5 or 6 years ago at Mohegan Sun in Uncasville, Connecticut. They had a Brookstone, and I had so many points on my Mohegan card from losing so much money that I once bought I was able to use my points to buy one of those, those scooters that you see people, they look like skateboards with handlebars that people ride around on. Yeah, those little e-bikes or whatever. Yeah, well, I had one of those, electric charged ones where you can kind of just ride it around. Yeah, I got one of those for nothing. Well, not for nothing. I mean, I lost a ton of money at the casino, but I was able to get one as a result. That was my big purchase from Brookstone many, many moons ago. I think Brookstone might still be around. 1-800-224-2004 if you've got a store. All right, while we get those calls lined up, it is my favorite day of the week, even though I've been so bad this year. I mean, I'm 19-22. I'm 3 games under 500. I am just playing around in the mediocrity zone. Every week on this show, I try to help you guys make some money. I do it with a little something we like to call Page's Picks. Yes. Dun, dun. Gets me in the mood every time. Do. And who knows, the music might be under me for the entire segment this time. Only because I love you, Brian. All right. Paige. Oh, I'm coming, man. I'm coming. I may even come before March. Who knows? Page's picks for this week 11 in the NFL. Let's start game number 1. It is the lock of the week. If I had the sound of a jail door closing right now, I'd be playing it. The lock of the week in week 11. I would put the farm on it if I could. I haven't been very good on these games when I say lock. But I think this is the closest thing to a guaranteed win. It's the Patriots minus 3.5 at home against the Jets. Why? All I have to do is say Bill Belichick and the Jets. That's it. Done. Do I need another reason? Zach Wilson's 0-3 against them. He threw up a bunch of bad passes and interceptions the last time. He's coming into this game overconfident as far as I'm concerned. And the Patriots have a chance to put themselves squarely in the middle of a AFC wildcard race. Heck, they put themselves back in the conversation for the division with a win this week. And I'm sorry, I'm not a believer in Zach Wilson. I think the kid needs a little humility. I think he gets some more of it this week. Some humble pie. He loses this week. Take the Patriots minus the 3.5. Boom! Game number 2. Let's stay in the Northeast. For the New York Giants, who are just hammering it against the spread pretty much all year. Oh, yeah. How do you not? The Giants minus 3 against the Lions. Now, if the Patriots are my stone cold lock, stone cold, then it's got to be the Giants as like my next best pick. The Giants minus 3 against the Lions. Detroit is in quite a funk. Even their offense, which really kind of carried them through the early part of the season, has started to go south. The Giants are starting to sniff it. I mean, they are right there for an NFC East title. Second place, right behind the Eagles, and they still got to play them twice. If this were the Giants of a couple of years ago, I'd say this is a trap game. Brian Daboll's not going to let that happen. He's going to be coach of the year, and it's because he gets his team up for games like this. Give me the Giants minus 3. Bears and the Falcons. Now, after those 2 games, I have to say there is a considerable drop-off in my comfort level with the rest of the games on the slate this week. But I like the Bears and Falcons, not necessarily on the line, but on the total. I think there's going to, Justin Fields and this offense have started to figure it out. He has been as good an offensive weapon as you could ask for. He's starting to figure it out, both throwing it and running it. He's basically, kind of a carbon copy of Lamar Jackson over the last couple of weeks. Insane. And the Falcons can score points. Both of these defenses give it up. 49.5 is the total. I think it goes over. You're going to have a lot of fireworks with the Bears and the Falcons. Game number 3. Last but not least, I have a soft spot in my heart, always have, for home underdogs. Haven't taken a ton of them this year because it's just not an ordinary year in the NFL. But I love the Colts plus 7 at home against the Eagles. I talked about it earlier in the week. What I am most interested in about the Eagles isn't the fact that they lost to the Commanders. Teams are going to have hiccups. And the NFC East is really good. It's how do you respond? And the Eagles have played a lot of close games this year. If you go and look at their schedule, they've played in a lot of close games. Remember, they barely beat Detroit in week 1, or otherwise we're not even talking about them as an undefeated team in week 10. And the Colts now with Matt Ryan, big win last week. That team is energized. They still have an outside shot at a wild card. They're at home. Even if the Eagles are up, 13 late, you get a garbage touchdown. I don't necessarily believe the Colts win, but I think it's close. And for that reason, the Colts plus 7 is our 4th and final game. So to recap, Paige's picks for Week 11 in the NFL. It's the Patriots minus 3.5 at home against the Jets. The Giants minus 3 at home against the Lions. The Bears and Falcons over 49.5. And the Colts plus 7 at home against the Eagles, the home dog. That's Paige's picks for Week 11 in the NFL. And if you like making picks, there's no better place to go right now than playfortickets.com. It's free to play, and you can win 2 tickets to go to football's biggest game in Glendale, Arizona this February. Here's what you got to do. Playfortickets.com. That's the website address. It's free to sign up. It's free to play. It's free to make your picks. Doesn't get any better than that. Here's what you got to do. Every Sunday of the NFL season, including the playoffs, you got a chance to win. All you have to do is pick the correct side and totals on Sunday for 7 games. That's it. Use that big football noggin of yours and pick 7 correct side and totals on Sunday, and you're going to football's biggest game in Glendale, Arizona in February. $50,000 cash in your pocket, airfare, hotel. It doesn't get any better. It's called the Super Pick 7 contest, and it's at playfortickets.com. Play, F-O-R, tickets.com. The Super Pick 7 contest. 21 and over to play. Terms and conditions apply. We'll come back and wrap up this hour of the Cash In next. Cool. Yeah, baby. I can't do better than 2-2. I think I had 1-3 in 1 week, a bunch of 2 in 2 weeks, and then last week I was 1-3. It's just been a struggle. Well, we'll see. I hope so. Knicks are down 18-16. Knicks are down 16. Oh, the best pick of the week is the Patriots. The Jets can't beat them. Yeah, the Saints make me nervous. I know, Andy Dalton, that offense has been so bad the last couple of weeks. Knicks are about to cut it to 14. Funny thing is, I think he can still play. I don't think physically he's shot or anything like that. It's just not as good as he once was. I mean, remember, he used to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league at one point. Not that long ago. Knicks are down 15. All right. Very much, yeah. Let's go. Get it under 10 here. Let's go. Oh, Derrick Rose. What a play by Rose. Of course. You're watching that bootleg shit. Bucket in the fall, down 15 again. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, Lakers are up at the half. Wow. Getting set to put the wraps on hour number 2 of the show. 2-2. Golden State leads the Knicks 87-74 at the end of 3. So the Knicks lost 2 points in that third quarter. The Knicks are plus 12.5 now at the end of 3. We have them plus 10.5. We already got one bet in on them at 10.5. Would we put another in at 12.5? They haven't been able to get it to less than 11. But start of the fourth, Steph probably starts out the quarter on the bench. And I think the Knicks could kind of make a run here. Boy, can I tell you what else is crazy? 87-74. The total for this game right now is 216.5, and I think it goes under that number. That seems like a low number to me. Boy, Cleveland responded tonight. Did they need a win in the worst way? They had gotten off to a great start and then had lost like 5 in a row. Cavaliers beat the Hornets tonight in double overtime, 132 to 122. So good win for Cleveland. How about Darius Garland? 41 points in the victory tonight for Darius Garland, 34 for Donovan Mitchell. 2 of them combined for 75 points. All right, we got another hour of the cash-in right around the corner. Got a couple of games going on to keep an eye on. Get to some more NFL news and notes. Just see what's going on in Buffalo with that crazy weather. Had to move the game to Detroit. It's like snowpocalypse there. We'll come back. Another hour of the Cash In on SportsMap Radio is next. There was thunder snow. Thunder snow. Yeah. La 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 lo. La 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 lo long 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 long. Wasted possession. La 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 la. One more time. Which nobody can deny. What were you going to say?
Ron texted. He wants to meet for a drink. So what we'll do is be downtown.
I'll meet you guys there.
Yeah, I'll drive. As you drive and pick us up lah. I will walk Vicky down to Arenas.
Okay.
It's actually not too cold tonight.
Hey Google, what's the current temperature in Fahrenheit?
Currently in Palm Springs, it's 65 degrees.
65 degrees. It's not bad.
All right, here's a Spotify playlist called Today's Top Hits.
No, hey Google, stop. on here? What the fuck? My TV became possessed.
What is happening? What? Oh, you're playing today's Top Hits.
Hey, Google, stop. Jesus. Oh, God. Knicks are down 18. Da 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 da. Let's go. Yeah. Final hour of a Friday/Saturday edition of the Cash In on SportsMap Radio and the SportsMap Radio app. Thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you for being with us all week. Thanks for hanging with me. It's always fun. I literally do this for you guys. I forgot. I honestly can say I forgot how much I love doing this. Because I went away for 6 years. Wait, if I say it that way, it sounds like I went to jail. I went... I went away. I mean, I left the industry essentially. I mean, partially it left me, but mostly it was, my decision to kind of step back for a bit and try some other things and tried creating different types of content. But I basically, after, 20 years on the air, I basically walked away from, a pretty successful sports radio career. And I took 6 years off. And honestly, after a few years, I finally didn't miss it. I felt like I had kicked the habit of sports radio. And even when I started doing this show in September, when I decided I was going to make my comeback, my triumphant return, I came back with some trepidation about, can I still do it? Would I enjoy it? And it's different this time around because I own my own media company, which, we distribute the show through SportsMap, but I own the show. And it's different this time around because of that. Not having to wake up every day and wonder, what program director am I going to get am I going to get a nasty email from my program director, who's hotlining me during the show? It's more fun when you kind of control the narrative and the content and the way you want to do it. It's a lot of fun. I'm having so much fun hanging out with you guys every night. So thank you for listening. We'll come back. We got another hour. Kurt Heelan later in the hour. More to do on the Cash In SportsMap Radio. No. Why do you say that? Oh, really? No, I didn't know that. No. It's a lot easier. It's just, there were so many nights. There were so many nights by the time I got done at NBC Sports. There were so many nights where I came into the show just in a bad mood because you're just dealing with incompetent management. A program director that Adam Carolla basically describes in his book as Mr. Magoo. Guy's name was Jack Silver. And he meant well, but he was just, not even a micromanager. He had no right. He had zero credentials, zero, to be a sports radio PD, let alone a network sports radio PD. He was so out of his depth. And he was there right till the end. Like, they never let go of this guy. And he was so bad. Nice guy for the most part. But he was one of these phony duplicit PDs. He always used to come up to me. Oh, we love being in the Jason Page business. It's just like, dude, I could see right through you. It's like, come on, man. I might have been born yesterday, but I wasn't born last night. Like, come on. This guy one time, true story. Our video audience that's watching might be laughing that I'm sharing this story, but this guy once during the NFL postseason forgot to schedule update anchors to do like the updates at the top of the hour, and he says to me, "Hey, can you just pre-record updates, to run throughout the evening?" While there's NFL postseason games on. So a network would go to the top of the hour update and they'd have some pre-recorded update. Exactly. Right. And I literally was just like, is this for real? Like, it was bad. It was really bad. And one time, and this is part of the impetus for me launching this company, one time he said to me when I tried to kind of help him because he was just screwing it up every which way. He said to me, "You know what? Go get your own sports radio network if you want to tell me how to run this one." And now he's, staring out at the golf course off of his back patio, and I'm doing my own show. So I'm good with that. Come on, Knicks. Let's go. Give me something to believe in. We lost our live bet last night. Warriors lead the Knicks 92-80 with 8:28 to go in the fourth quarter. We have the Knicks plus 10.5 on our live bet of the night here on the show. Problem is, Stephen Curry's, if he's not back on the floor already, will be soon. And the Knicks didn't really do much to cut into that Warriors lead. So we'll have to see if they can try and get this thing under 10. Make it a little less of a sweat. 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004 on Twitter at the back page. Not in Page's picks this week, which we did at the end of the last hour. So if you missed them, if you missed them, you know what? Here's what I'll do. For the sake of those that may have missed Page's picks at the end of the last hour. Page's picks this week, Patriots minus 3.5. That's like our stone cold lock of the week. Like the game you absolutely, if you bet one game this weekend, the game you have to bet is the Patriots minus 3.5 at home against the Jets. The Giants minus 3 against the Lions. The Bears and Falcons over 49.5, and the Colts plus 7 at home against the Eagles. Those are our 4 picks. Page's picks here on the cash-in. One game we did not touch, though, was what I think is probably the game of the week. By the way, Knicks within 10 now with 8 minutes to go in the fourth. The The one game I didn't touch, which is the game of the week, is this Dallas Cowboys team traveling into Minnesota to take on the Vikings. And the reason I didn't touch it is I think it could honestly go either way. You've got Minnesota that's won 8 in a row. Dallas coming off the disappointing loss last week against a Packers team that can't get out of its own way. You had all the penalties, 8 penalties for 90 yards or whatever it was, or 9 penalties for 80 yards. The same sort of stuff. When the Cowboys lose, they beat themselves way more than other teams beat them. It's just that simple. And Green Bay ran it all over them last week. And I got to admit that Green Bay doing what they did offensively in that game and having the success they did took me for a loop, because I view this Cowboys defense as a Super Bowl caliber defense. Now, it's one game. How they follow it up, I've talked about it. There's a lot of teams sort of with redemption kind of games this week. Philadelphia trying to, bounce back after the Monday Night Football loss against the Commanders. That's a big redemption game. The Cowboys, how do they bounce back after the defeat in Green Bay? The Jets trying to finally get over the hump against the Patriots. There's a few of those games out there this week. And I love Dallas. Anybody listening to this show knows I look at them in San Francisco as the two teams in the NFC that I think have the best shot to wind up in the Super Bowl. And I know that sounds crazy when you've got the Giants doing what they're doing, the Eagles with 1 loss, the Vikings with 1 loss. I look at those two teams, the Cowboys and 49ers, because of what they can do defensively on a week-in, week-out basis, last week notwithstanding. I was very high on both of those teams. But I got to take the Vikings seriously after what they did in Buffalo last week. CeeDee Lamb had a nice game last week, 11 for 150. But the Cowboys not being able to stop the Packers ground game was just a head scratcher for me. Vikings 4-1 against the spread, by the way, in that game, and they are plus 1.5. The Cowboys are 6-3 against the spread on the year. So Dallas minus 1.5, minus 126 on the money line. 48.5 is the game total, and that's probably right where it'll land. 28-24, 24-20, 27-20, something in that range is certainly not out of the realm of possibility. 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. Again, hit me up on Twitter at the back page. Again, on Twitter at the back page. How does this Dallas pass defense do? Obviously one of the best in the league. So the Vikings are going to run it a lot. And again, we saw last week what happened when Aaron Jones and the Packers just went off against this Dallas run D. Dalvin Cook, somebody to look at if you're looking at player props. Yeah, certainly is. By the way, Warriors now up 13. Knicks just can't get over the hump. I think they had it down to 11 or 10 here in the fourth. Golden State leads New York 95-82, 7:40 to go in the fourth quarter. I think we're officially in sweat mode, folks. We got the Knicks plus 10.5 on the live bet tonight. I think we are officially in sweat mode. Lakers trying to get a win without LeBron tonight. Lead the Pistons 88-83, 3:36 to go in the third quarter there. Are absolutely meaningless, have nothing to do with sports question of the night. We've been taking it all night, and you guys have been calling in and participating, and I love that. 1-800-224-2004 from anywhere in America. 800-224-2004. And on Twitter at the back page. If you had one chain store, national chain, if you had one national chain that you could bring back that is out of business, what would it be? 1-800-224-2004 from anywhere in America tonight. We've heard Sharper Image. What else did we get? We got Media Tower Records, Media Play. was on the list. Fries made the list. My pick is Blockbuster. Mine was Radio Shack. I'll always go with the Shack. Push comes to shove. Yeah, but Sizzler's still in business. Is Bennigan's completely gone, really? Bennigan's. Ground Round would have probably been the one. Bennigan's. Oh, no. Bennigan's is relaunched. Here we go. Let's see. Elgin, Illinois. Domestic locations. Bennigan's is relaunched. Matter of fact, no, they're in Texas, dude. I don't know where Borger, Texas is, but it's there. Great. Oh, how about this? Bennigan's on the fly. Grapevine, Texas. Embassy Suites by Hilton Dallas, DFW Airport. Monahans, Texas, wherever that is. See, you live in Texas. How do you not know where this stuff is? There are this is true. There are 12 Bennigan's locations now in the country. None in California. Yes, 12. Yeah. So Bennigan's is back, baby. You know what else is supposedly making a comeback? I don't know if the brick and mortars have gone up yet, but Toys R Us is supposed to be back. Here's what's funny. When Toys R Us closed, true story, when Toys R Us closed and they had finally shuttered all the stores, I went to Singapore. And interestingly enough, Toys R Us never closed in Singapore. There are still Toys R Us locations there. Yes. And they're still very much around. I went into one. I was like, oh, my God, this is wild that there's a Toys R Us in Singapore. There's everything in Singapore, though. They have McDonald's and all that stuff. It's, it's the same thing. Because for people who don't know, we have my husband and I, we have a home in Singapore. So we obviously go there quite a bit. Make sure that, our house is still there. But anyway, if you got one store, let me know. I'll give you another one from Kids Day. Remember Child's World? Yeah, that was another toy store around the time of Toys R Us. We used to go every Saturday after bowling. We would go to Toys R Us or Child's World, and we'd go buy the old, I'm talking original Nintendo, the original NES. And we would go and buy, we'd go and look at the video games and then convince our parents to go and spend $20 on a video game. Yeah, I was huge. I was huge into the original Nintendo system. But if you got one store, one national chain store that you'd love to have come back, let me know what it is. 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. We'll take those in this hour of the program. You could also tweet them at me at the back page. In 18 minutes, you will hear from my man Kurt Heelan, he of Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com. He does a terrific job on the NBA. Philosophical conversation about basketball on tonight's show. We also talked about the Warriors, though, who, have really struggled here in the early going. They've yet to win a game on the road. Yeah, it's a 10-point game. I know Warriors lead the Knicks 100-90. We have the Knicks plus 10.5 on the live bet of the night. Now 103-90 Warriors. 4:38 to go in the fourth quarter. The problem is, you get into that garbage area. If you get to 2 minutes and it's still this kind of lead, and then it's just dumb luck if you hang on or not. That's just the way it is. Knicks couldn't get over the hump tonight. They could not get it. I don't think they ever got it under double digits. Yeah, hold on. I'm watching. Let me watch the game. Hold on. Yeah, it's great radio, man. Great radio. We are professionals. 800-224-2004. All right. Some more NFL notes to get to. I mentioned it earlier. The Browns and Bills this weekend. And it's the reason I didn't touch this game as well. You basically turn this into a neutral site game. I know Buffalo, it's basically an equidistant game in Detroit, because of the snowpocalypse that has hit Buffalo, they literally have like 4 feet of snow on the ground. And I think they're saying there's going to be another foot. Like they may wind up with 5 feet of snow. I mean, that's insane. Like I've been around when there's been like, it feels like The Day After Tomorrow. Remember that movie, The Day After Tomorrow, with Jake Gyllenhaal? Yeah, it feels a lot. It feels a lot like that. So they're going to play the game in Detroit. I think that's a disadvantage for Buffalo. And I wonder what the threshold is. Like, what's the threshold where you move a game because of snow? Because we've seen teams play in blizzards and, bad snowy conditions. What is it? Because fans can't get to the stadium? Yeah, that's fair. I guess I understand that. It's where you draw the line. All right, it's good to know. It's good to know where that compass is for you. By the way, the Knicks, this game was gettable for the Knicks tonight. The Warriors only shot 44% from the field. The Knicks have shot 34%. It's hard to be worse than the Knicks tonight. I mean, and by the way, to go back to this point about the 3-point shot in the NBA, and we're going to talk about this with Kurt Healing coming up in about 15 minutes. The Warriors tonight have attempted 86 shots. Guess how many of them are 3-point attempts? You want to throw a guess out there, Brian? That wasn't. Yeah. No. It was kind of half rhetorical, but I just thought you'd answer right. 47. They might get to 50. They have attempted 47 3, and they've only made 17. It's not like they're tearing up the town, but the Knicks just can't do anything. Ugh, it's stupid. 16 turnovers for the Knicks, too. That's not going to help. All right, we're back with more of the Cash-In. Stay with us. It's SportsMap Radio. Curry got fouled on a 3. Ugh, God. So bad. Yeah. It's not good. Why is Jose Altuve trending on Twitter? Oh, I didn't see this. Huh. Interesting. I wonder if those guys. I'll actually come back and talk about this for a minute. Like, there's a point I want to make about this. Wake up call. Mail this. Down 13. Hey, I wonder if you're behind me. What time is on your clock? Oh, you're way ahead. What the hell? Yes. All right, now I'm with you. I caught up. Oh, Curry just killed us. Ugh. Curry's just a killer. Stone cold killer. Stone cold. Stone cold. Warriors 111. Yeah, absolutely. I'm getting him on the show. If it kills me, I'm going to get him on the show. You'd be like, I want to work the show that night. So I can GR. There you go. Warriors 111, Knicks 90, Knicks 93 with 2:39 to go now in the fourth. Knicks had a chance to get it to 10, and before you know it, Warriors had a couple of shots back to back, and Knicks plus 10.5, not looking very good, but you never know. Get some garbage buckets late. We'll hold out hope. 1-800-224-2004, our totally meaningless, nothing to do with sports question of the night. Your favorite chain store growing up that if they can bring it back, one store, one national chain, what would it be? We've heard all sorts of picks. Mine is Radio Shack. It always will be. Going down with the Shack, baby. Let me know what you think. Shoot us a call. 800-224-2004 here. Kurt Healing coming up in 10 minutes on the show. I was checking out Twitter during the break, and I saw this story, and I had to get to it. I guess Peter Gammons is telling this story about Jose Altuve. And Brian, you saw it too, because I said, why is Jose Altuve trending on Twitter? And you said it's because he asked Peter Gammons not to mention his name. Tell the story. Jose Altuve, by the way, 1,935 career hits, career 307 hitter. Remarkably, he has almost 200 career home runs, which for a guy who's 5'6", 165 pounds is amazing. You know what I'm curious to see, and I was just thinking about this when I was reading this story about what Peter Gammons wrote and everything, telling this story about Altuve. I wonder if any of these Astros guys that could potentially wind up being Hall of Famers, and obviously Altuve's in that conversation, I wonder if they get punished come Hall of Fame time for this. So that's a very good point. Then there are writers that, do that sort of thing. I mean, there was one dope that didn't vote for Derek Jeter. It was like, I don't think Derek Jeter's a Hall of Fame. Why? Because nobody should get 100%. Well, Mariano did. Yeah. No, I know. And that's why some of these guys shouldn't even have votes. It's a joke. But Altuve is an interesting study because he's 32. And I wonder if he gets to 3,000 hits because he's 1935. If he plays another, he'd have to play another set. I don't think he's playing until he's 40. He going to play till he's 40, though? I don't see a lot of guys playing until they're 40 anymore. No, I'll tell you why. The last time he had 200 hits was 2017. And he hasn't even sniffed it since then. So he's not getting to 3,000 hits. He's just not. Unless he plays till he's 40. No, not at all. No. I think all of those metrics are starting to change. We were talking about it last night on the show with, or the other night with Brian Kenny from MLB Now. Justin Verlander is going to be the last 300-game winner if he gets there. That's it. No, not problem. There will not be another 300-game winner in our lifetime. It won't happen. There's nobody out there. And the way pitching has changed and the way bullpens are used, unless they restrict the number of pitchers a team could have, and Brian Kenny thinks that this is something that may ultimately happen, that eventually, and we're talking 10 years down the line, teams may cut back on the number of guys you could have in your bullpen. And that would obviously change. Pitchers would go deeper into games and have the ability to notch up more wins. But I mean, the days of the 20-win pitcher, all of that stuff, it's all gone. So you're not getting to 300 wins again. The 500 home run thing, that could potentially happen. There's still, and we talked about this maybe a week or two ago. I started to look at the numbers. There's a bunch of guys that could still get to 500 home runs. That I don't think will. I think that number will still be reachable and gettable. But the days of 300 wins, that's it. I mean, Verlander, you write a book, the last 300-game winner. It'll be Verlander. And I think I think he's going to hang around to get it. I really do. He's at 344. Realistically, he's probably going to have to pitch 4 more years to get there. But I could see him doing it, if he stays healthy. Yeah, of course. Yeah, well, the Yankees, he's kind of made it clear. I don't think that's where he's going. But, by the way, we are a winner, baby. It's over in Golden State. 111-101. We cover by a half a point. Another winner for the cash-in. Woo! Wow, I'm glad I didn't see the end of it. I probably would have been sweating. Wow. Is it 10 or 20? What is it? Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Working with this ragtag crew tonight. Now it's 10. So the Knicks cover, baby. If you had the Knicks plus 10.5, you're a winner. Kurt Heelan talking NBA next on the cash-in. Stay with us. 20, 10. Yeah. All right, I should have this on my side. Let me make sure. Yeah, like I said, I didn't even wind up seeing it. It's like they went running time at the end. We welcome you back to the show. Our completely if you've got one, let us know. 1-800-224-2004. 800-224-2004. Right. You might be on hold for a little bit because we got an interview coming up on my end. We welcome you back to the show. All right, I'll talk to you in about 20. Oh, I know. I will tell you, though, I also talked to We welcome you back to the show. Our completely having nothing to do with sports question of the night. If you had one chain store, national chain store that you could bring back, what would it be? We've heard Tower Records. We've heard Media Play. My vote is always going to be for Radio Shack. If you've got one, let us know. 1-800-224-2004. 800-224-2004. You might be on hold for a little bit because we got an interview coming up. But also, you can hit me up on Twitter if that's more convenient while Twitter is still around. On Twitter at the back page. Kurt Heelan is our guest. Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com. He is the man behind it, and he joins us on the show tonight. Do you have? I'm gonna put you on the spot. One store from your childhood. If you could bring back one store from your childhood, what would it be?
That's a really good question. I was just thinking about that. By the way, you've got to work on your Mastodon title and then what that's going to be and how you're going to get that out in a couple days. It's funny. I was trying to think of like what chain store did I go to a lot. I'm like, I have these weird fond memories of going to Sizzler with my dad, but I think there's still Sizzler.
Sizzler is still alive.
Yeah, so that doesn't count. Maybe Radio Shack. I'm trying to. I feel like I'm forgetting something really obvious, and I can't think of it right now.
All right. Well, I guess you're not Johnny on the spot this time. That's okay.
No, I am not. I'm the little hamster's not running very fast tonight, so you're stuck with it.
Fair enough. I don't normally talk about games in progress because we replay this interview in the final hour of the show. But I made the Knicks my live bet of the night. Plus 10.5 when they were down 12-4 early in the first quarter, and now they're down 32-17. Did I make an epic mistake tonight?
Well, you bet on the Knicks, so usually that is yes. I don't know. They are really they're just kind of unpredictable. They're just what's weird is they're actually the offense, especially with Brunson around, is solid, and they've got too many guards. They're looking to trade. What's weird is this is the worst defending Thibodeau team I can remember. They are just awful.
Yeah,
they're just awful on that end of the floor. And those, by the way, for your betting friends, like those are the hardest teams to predict, right? Other than because if you're bad defensively, every once in a while you outscore a team, or you just have a decent night, or the other team just misses shots, and you do okay. But like it's just unpredictable with bad defensive teams. So.
Let me ask you something. At what point do you start to worry about this Warriors team? I mean, what sampling size is enough? We're basically a little about fifth of the way through the season after tonight's game. I mean, at what point is it a real concern for this team, Bob Myers, Steve Kerr, to look at a team that can't win on the road, has had trouble defending, and is basically relying on Stephen Curry to put him on his back every night at a stage in his career where he cannot do that every night and be fresh by the end of the season?
Well, I think you just hit the big concern, which is Steph Curry's been fantastic, but you can't play him this many minutes and kind of just rely on him to be this much of the offense. Look, it's going to wear Luka down, and Luka's 24. Like, you're asking a lot of Curry to do this, as great a condition as he is in. You can tell they're starting to personally, they get a little more slack than most teams because they've got 4 rings, because they've been there and done that. And the other thing that they've got going for them, their starting 5 lineup is still killing people. Like, the starting 5 is fine. Poole's been inconsistent as a 6th man. So all the people who would listen to me and bet Poole for 6th man of the year, I'm sorry. I mean, maybe he'll come around, but he's been really inconsistent so far. And then the rest of the bench has been awful. Just, Wiseman's in the G League now. DiVincenzo's trying to get healthy and is okay, but he's not great. And Moody's up and down. Kuminga's up and down. They've just been terrible. I think you can tell they're starting to worry internally a little more by the way and the tone that. Look, Steve Kerr the other night came out and said we look like a Drew League
yes.
team, which is a really cold insult in the NBA. That's hey, I only care about my own individual shot and I don't care about defense type of mentality. And I think they'll get better. I think Clay will be better. He's not going to shoot this poorly all season. I think Poole will level out. But that, you mentioned it, their defense hasn't been good. That's the real concern. They were still the best defense in the NBA last year going into the playoffs. And it was just a matter of, hey, can the offense and everything kind of break right for them? Can Clay be good enough? And they obviously were. But Clay's been worse than his playoff self this year, and their defense is awful. And it's time to start genuinely worrying. It's early, but I think that if you're Bob Meyer and that group, you have to start thinking about, hey, if we're going to go, I think you owe it to Curry to be all in for this year. You've got the rest of this window, and if that means moving Wiseman or Moody or somebody to get a veteran who can genuinely help you this year, I think you have to seriously consider it.
Yeah. I agree with you. Talking with Kurt Heelan, Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com. Is Clay going to have to reinvent himself a bit? Sometimes I see it in baseball all the time with pitchers who have been, dominant, maybe power arms early in their career. They suffer an injury or a setback, and they come back and sort of reinvent themselves. Is that what we're talking about with Klay Thompson? Because it just feels like, to me, I know you say, well, eventually he won't shoot this bad. Well, but what if he does? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out how, with his skill set and his physical abilities, and now there has to be some limitations because of all the, the bevy of injuries he suffered. How does he reinvent himself? Does he have to?
I think a little bit, and I think that's hard sometimes for players to accept. And look, you don't get to be Klay Thompson without being incredibly competitive, right? And you don't accept. You've just spent the first 30 years of your life getting to this point by not accepting limitations, by not saying, "Hey, I don't need to work out again. I can't push." You push yourself through everything, so there's a part of you that thinks you can do that, and then at some point, the brain that I know I think he understands he's never quite going to be the same player. He's pretty much said that, but he's got to start, like you said, I think he's got to modify his game a little. But the other part of that is, the bottom line is he's also just missing shots. He's just missing looks he made. He's going to have to maybe he's not going to be able to create the space and nail the contested shots and have those 30-plus point quarters anymore. Like, I'm not sure that Clay's around. But he's also going to hit, right now he's just missing wide open stuff. He's missing clean looks. And I don't think that continues forever.
Talking with Kurt Heelan, Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com, getting into some NBA conversation with him. Let me ask you something. Go to the Eastern Conference for a second. If with every win that the Celtics rack up, does Ime Udoka's value decrease? When you see Joe Mazzulla doing what he's doing with this team, and they're not even 100% healthy yet, and I get it, not everybody's healthy, but, you look at what Mazzulla has done here in the early going, sort of picking up the pieces after Udoka got let go, right around the start of the preseason. Is it a situation where guys around the league look and say, all right, well, maybe Udoka's a good coach, but, Joe Mazzulla was able to step into that same team, and they haven't missed a beat at all.
I would like to remind you that Luke Walton coached the first half of the 73 win Warriors season. Did he not?
Yes, he did.
And Luke Walton may not be the best NBA coach that's ever lived. So I think it's sort of similar in this case. There's obviously they've had to adjust, especially with Robert Williams out there. Defense just isn't the same and won't be till he gets back. But the foundation and what they wanted to do, and I think if people understand that Ime Udoka helped them find their identity last year. It took half a season. It took a while to get there. Remember, they were 18-21 at one point. They got there, and when they figured it out, they've kind of stuck with it. So I don't mean to imply that Joe Mazzulla is simply some sort of caretaker, because I think he's done a really good job and helped with the adjustments. But I think the foundation was there by the time he walked in, and he just had to. There was a part of, we know what we want to do. Let's not screw that up.
So it's basically just go in and continue the same, sort of.
Yeah. The culture was already set that they wanted to do, and he takes over a team that came so close, right? Like they've got that fire from having reached the finals. Thinking, by the way, I will tell you, when you were around them last year, they were convinced they were the better team. And they might have been the more talented team. They were, obviously, when we look back at that finals, the Warriors were able to force them into stuff they didn't want to do and kind of just outthink them and out-scheme them a little bit. But I think that they came back with real fire after that. And so he, again, stepped into a situation where the team was motivated, the foundation was laid, and he just had to help bring it over the goal line.
A yes or no question, and then I'll have a follow-up. There's a reason I'm asking it. Do you think the league likes the style of play right now where teams are, jacking up 35 to 43s a night? Do you think the league likes that?
Yes, it's more nuanced than that, but yes.
Because the reason I ask it is, to me, it's become more of a 3-point shootout every game, run up and down the floor, shoot threes, and then, in the final 6 minutes, the game bogs down a bit more and it becomes a little bit more defensive minded. But I almost wonder if the NBA has sort of in some ways become like baseball, where for baseball, it's all or nothing. Who cares if you hit 225? If you hit 30 home runs and knock in 80, that's fine. Anthony Rizzo just got a contract from the Yankees. He hit 225, had 34 home runs, 75 RBIs. He's going to make $20 million a year. And to me, that's been one of the things that's kind of hurt baseball is all the different nuances that we were used to seeing around baseball. They've sort of gone. A lot of the traditions that we loved, being, guys stealing bases, things like that. And it feels like to me, so much of basketball has sort of gone out the door. The fundamentals of basketball have left, and a lot of it's because of the three-point shot and the fact that everybody on the floor can shoot it now. And to me, I would almost like to see the NBA just keep backing up the three-point line to disincentivize guys from jacking up 40 of them a game.
Yeah, the problem is you can only do that so much because of the size of it. You could widen the court and just get rid of those front row seats. I'm sure every team will go for that. I believe genuinely that there will be a pendulum swing in the next 10 to 15 years, and it won't be dramatic. We're not going to go back to 1990s basketball, but there will be another Tom Thibodeau in Boston type of situation where somebody figures out a defense that messes with the existing theories, and the defenses will it will be copied by everybody, and the offenses will have to adjust. And I think that's coming. They'll always, I think right now the offenses are just ahead of the defenses, but I think that pendulum swing will happen. I think the league wants scoring up, it wants pace up, but I think it prefers Ja Morant. I don't want to say Steph Curry's a bad example and the Warriors are a bad example, but because they're a very entertaining team to watch. But I think that they would prefer more Ja Morant drive and kick stuff and the athleticism of that on a space. And you need spacing on the floor to make that happen. But I think that they'd like to see that, and they'd like to see faster paced games more than they necessarily just want to see more threes.
That makes a lot of sense. Kurt Halen, thank you for the philosophical conversation. I appreciate it, my friend. Kurt Halen, Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com. Thank you. Have a great weekend, sir.
You too. Take care, man.
Before we say goodbye, a reminder to check out my friends at playfortickets.com. Your chance to go to football's biggest game in Glendale, Arizona this February, plus win $50,000 in cash, all by going to playfortickets.com. Oh, my goodness. It was me again. Yeah. Hey, but we were a winner tonight on Paige's Picks. I mean, come on. Thank you. We told you to take 10.5. The Knicks plus 10.5. They lost by 10. So you were a winner if you went with us tonight. Before we go, though, seriously, go check out the Super Pick 7 contest at playfortickets.com. It's free to sign up. It's free to play. And you could go to football's biggest game in Glendale, Arizona this February. You know the game I'm talking about. 2 tickets, $50,000 cash in your pocket, airfare and hotel. Every Sunday of the NFL season, including the playoffs, gives you a chance to win. And all you got to do is pick the correct side and totals on Sunday for 7 games. It's that simple. Use that football expertise of yours, and you can win 2 tickets to the 2023 big game and put $50,000 cash in your pocket. Playfortickets.com and then click the Super Pick 7 contest. Go and get them. 21 and over to play. Terms and conditions apply. That's it. We're done. Oh, I still got another 30 seconds. I can't just leave. I'm going to go do something tonight after the show that I never do on Friday nights. You know what I'm going to do, Brian McDonald? Nope. I'm going to get a drink. I never drink. Not a Diet Coke. Nope. Some fruity, slushy, alcoholic drink. Just lose all respect for me? Probably. No? Okay. That's going to wrap it up for us. Good job all week. We'll see you back here on Monday. I'm Jason Page, the Cash In on SportsMap Radio. Bye! Hey, dude. Love it as always, and look forward to talking to you next week. Be well. All right. Okay. Cool. Hopefully we all still have jobs. See you later. Goodbye. Yeah, that too. Goodbye. All right. To all of you in video land, thank you for watching. We'll catch you back here on Monday. Don't forget Paige's Picks. Hopefully they bring you some fortune. I'll catch you back here on Monday, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on SportsMap Radio and the SportsMap Radio app. Make sure to check out playfortickets.com if you have not signed up yet. Playfortickets.com. The Super Pick 7 contest. It's awesome. You got a chance to go to football's biggest game in Arizona this February. I mean, do you understand how big of a prize that is? Just pick the correct side and total. Sunday, 7 games, 2 tickets to the game, $50,000 cash in your pocket. Simple as that. Airfare, hotel. Just go pick the games. It's free. Is there any better reason to play than that? I'll see you back here on Monday, everybody. Have a great weekend.